You are in Hyphens Haven, the space for multi-hyphenate artists who work on stage and off, in front of the camera and behind the scenes. We share our paths to becoming who we are. I am Drea of Dream of Drea, and I have someone that I'm so excited to present to you today. As co-head of development at Swirl Films, Jay Allen is a results-driven professional who is committed to bringing compelling content to audiences worldwide. He oversees the entire content production process from conception to post-production, serving as the main liaison and point of contact for the projects he leads.
Mm.
Additionally, Jay played a pivotal role in co-creating and producing the highly acclaimed Freaknik, the Wildest Party Never Told documentary for Hulu, which chronicles the history and cultural significance of the annual spring break event in Atlanta. So I'm
Yes.
so excited. I'm so happy to introduce this producer who I cannot bottle it up. Jay Allen, how are you doing, Jay?
Well, great. And that listen to all that good reading. You better go off, y'all. She didn't talk like this before the call. We was talking before she got on. This is her voice for this. She had a different voice outside of this. Georgia Tech girl, this is different. But
Yes,
hey, Drea, how are you?
I am well, Jay. I'm excited that we're getting the chance to talk. So, before we get going, we want the audience to understand the journey you're on, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
we always begin at your genesis. So, who are your parents or those who you were raised by, and tell us their profession?
Yeah, so my mother is named Bonnie and my dad is named Pete. Everybody calls him John. My mom was a civil engineer and my dad worked at a tire plant called General Tire and he had a factory job his whole life.
Were you raised with siblings or particular close relatives in your
Sure.
home?
I was the youngest of three. So I have two brothers, Sean and Kelton, who are older than me, but not smarter than me. I think I got the brains in the family, but they're really good people. But I got the brains.
Okay. What was your happiest childhood memory?
My happiest childhood memory was, and I don't remember the year, but the year I got my first Nintendo. Like I remember, you know, I had I had made I had made a lot of deals with Santa Claus that particular year. I was 5 years old when Nintendo dropped. I made a deal with Santa Claus. I put it in blood, and he delivered. Like that Nintendo, I just remember opening it, playing Super Mario. It was one of my happiest and worst memories at the same time. It was great.
You put it in blood. How was it your worst memory? Because having that Nintendo was great. That was Duck Hunt.
It was
And
everything. It was everything. But you
yes.
gotta understand, I wasn't emotionally ready for Duck Hunt or Mario because I remember playing Mario and getting to a very far level and then running off a cliff and having to start over at the first level. It was no save or anything in between back in that day. And so then I remember being emotional. I was a basket case. My mom told me to stop playing Mario and play Duck Hunt. I played Duck Hunt and this dog is laughing at me. It was just I was an emotional kid. So I just remember it being a great day to start. And it didn't end so well. They took it from me. They took the Nintendo from me because I was emotional.
Oh, well, let's talk about your early learning days being in elementary school, because I know there was a side that your parents got to see and a side that your teachers were able to see. So, where did you attend elementary school? And was there a teacher who saw something in you and wanted to nurture that talent?
Yeah, so I went to school. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. So I went to school at Myers Park Traditional Elementary School in Charlotte. My kindergarten teacher was named Beverly Brandon, and so I could read before any of the other kids because I grew up in the church. So I was reading the Bible at a very young age. I should have been a pastor. I should have been like a kid pastor, not an adult pastor, because I curse a lot. But as a kid, I was ready
Youth
for the
pastor.
job. No, not a youth pastor, because the youth pastor pastors the youth. I was a
Oh,
kid pastoring the adults,
oh,
um,
okay.
but only because I could read. I didn't know what I was reading. Anyway, Miss Brandon was my kindergarten teacher, who I still have a relationship with today. She's an amazing human being. She's the first person that saw the gift in me, and she let me be funny. I used to make up the letters for the letters. So you have A through Z, and they have apple, and I would say orangutan. Orangutan is a funny word when you're in kindergarten, and I know it starts with the O, but that made the kids laugh. You know what I'm saying? So and I don't like that you made the face before I could finish my story.
Just listening.
And so she was the first teacher to really like embrace the humor and allow me to be the class clown, but the smart class clown.
Okay. Well, was there a moment from elementary school that you were so um, just at awe of yourself when you had this great moment to happen?
Yeah, for sure. Probably the day I retired from being in the school band. It was a big day for me. So when I was in fifth grade, we did the music test, and I really wanted to play the saxophone because I thought it was a cool instrument. And then my backup was the drum. So we took this music test, and then I got to get the trombone, which I was very disappointed at. But they put me in the front row, so I was kind of happy because my parents got to see me during the spring concert. You know what I mean? But it's probably the most memorable day because during the middle of the spring concert, my little slide thing flew off, and it flew 2 rows deep into the concert. And I still played. I still kept moving my arm, even though that was gone from my instrument. But it was kind of dope to have your first day at a big concert also be your retirement day. I just remember that being just a big moment for me um, as a child. I was in fourth grade. I remember like it was yesterday.
That was some moment to retire, being in the fifth grade
It
there.
was, yeah, and I haven't picked up an instrument since. So, just being able to retire from something at a young age is like super, super great.
Okay, and to transition into middle school, because I'm sure you had to pick up something different. Was there
Cool.
a teacher there that saw yet this talent that's budding in you?
Not really. So middle school was a tough transition for me. This is therapy. I'm gonna go through it. So my elementary school, people loved learning because it was like it's kind of like this school that was like, it would have probably been a private school today. You know what I mean? But I went to middle school in the hood, and so it was rough transition for me to go from this place where people love learning to a school in the middle of the hood where it was like aggressive and students were fighting teachers and everything else. So I kind of like I played sports in middle school. I played basketball and ran track. But I wasn't really myself because I spent those 2 years. I only had 2 years of middle school because that was around the time where they were transitioning, whether it's, ninth graders stayed or went to high school and sixth graders. So in Charlotte, it was like a weird time. So I had middle school for 2 years, weirdest 2 years of my life. But I made it. Not a lot of teachers I bonded with. Actually, one teacher, his name was Mr. Floyd, still lives in my neighborhood. Great teacher. He didn't believe in me, but he was just funny. And he allowed me to be funny when I could be funny. A lot of my teachers that embraced my humor were my favorite teachers.
That's good. And as you were in middle school for 2 years and then you went on to high school, which
Yeah.
is definitely interesting. Was there a teacher who made an impact in those critical years of being in high school?
I would say the principal made a difference. So my principal at Harding, so I went to Harding University High School, which is historic high school, historically Black high school. I don't know if that's a thing. It's a historic high school in Charlotte, North Carolina. Um, my principal was named Curtis Carroll, and he was very much like Joe Clark on Lean on Me. Like he thought he could save everybody. You know what I'm saying? So he would do anything to keep everybody safe. He fought students. I watched this man body slam a student in a good way. Student deserved it. And he got off. He body slammed the student, claimed it was self-defense, and everybody was scared of this man. You know what I mean? But he was a good principal, kept everybody out of trouble. I don't think I'm incriminating him now, but he was a good principal. I was a very bad student in the ninth grade, and he's one of the people that spoke life into me and made me feel like I had more to give the world than these terrible grades that I had.
Well, that's good. That's good. So to have uh someone like that as a principal to speak life into you, to see that you could do much better than what you're doing. Take us back to when you are a senior in high school and you're about to make this decision of where you're going to do what you're going to do next. So where did your path lead you as you're graduating from high school?
So I started high school in 1996. So the 1900s for you guys, and I'm sure you're much younger. So yeah, in the 1900s, you got a lot of influence from television. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I graduated in 2001. So in the 2000s, I was still heavily influenced by TV. We didn't have cable growing up, so I just had regular TV. And I knew my mom made me feel like I had to go to college, and I didn't really know much about colleges because I'm the first person in my family to go to college. But I grew up heavily influenced by the Cosby Show. So when it was time to pick a college, I was under a lot of pressure. And I just told my guidance counselor, who's a sweet old white lady, I just told her I want to go to Hillman. And so this lady, bless her heart, she passed maybe about 15 years ago, spent probably like a week trying to find Hillman College because I was so passionate about it. And then she finally came back, I remember, and told me like she couldn't find a college or the college had shut down. I want to say she told me it was a women's college that had shut down. And she was like, but can I help you find another college? And that's when I found out that, Hillman was a TV college. It was a lot. It was a lot. But I had started taking school very serious, and I ended up going to the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, which, I was able to get scholarships and everything else because I had started taking school and life much more serious by the time I was a senior.
Oh, that's a great transition that you were at UNC Wilmington. And what
Yeah.
did you take up to study there?
So I studied communications with a minor in film. It was originally a minor in film and Japanese because I had taken Japanese in high school. But I dropped Japanese and it was communication studies with a minor in film.
And was there a moment as you're studying, this is an awesome space for you to be in, that helped propel you towards that next step?
Yeah, for sure. So there was a show called Dawson's Creek and One Tree Hill that both filmed in this amazing little college town that I went to school in Wilmington, North Carolina. And while being a student in film, I got to be an extra on both One Tree Hill and Dawson's Creek. And I think for me, getting to see film while studying film was just a great experience, and also making money, more money that I was making in my work study program, just being on set all day, really made me get the bug for film and made me appreciate it at such a young age. And I really haven't looked back since.
That's awesome. So you were able to work, because so many people I know that could dream about being on set
Mm-hmm.
while they're studying in that space, and you were able to do that. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. It was a dream come true. It changed my life for
So
sure.
as you are seeing what's happening and you're envisioning yourself there because you're in that space, what is that transition that happened for you as you're graduating from college, or you decided to go into that path? What happened to pull you into that next arena?
So a few things. So one, I went to middle school. Well, let me say this. I grew up like 3 doors down and went to middle school with Nick Cannon, right? And so, who was from Charlotte, who doesn't rep Charlotte as much because he went to San Diego when he was in late middle school, early high school. He went to San Diego. But again, he he lived in Charlotte. There was a connection there. So seeing his success obviously made everyone in the area feel like they could get it too. Um, on top of that, while I was in school, the company that I work for now, Swirl Films, was a growing independent film production company out of Wilmington, North Carolina. And they had several movies going on that were like small BET movies, and I would jump in and help over there, as well as I did comedy. So at the time, I'm also doing comedy, which is a very important part of this journey. And so while I was jumping in and helping at Swirl, I was also doing spoken word comedy, touring with some of the biggest spoken word artists in the game at the time. And I think my initial step into my own was I got casted for the last season of Def Poetry Jam. Unfortunately, got canceled before I got to go on the screen, but I got casted for that and go on tour with those poets, and that is really the moment that I fully stepped into film.
That is fantastic, just transition from where you have been and you've taken life seriously, and
Yeah.
now you are working or beginning to really get into the groove of working in the entertainment space. So tell us about that first major work that came into your life, because I looked up some of your projects, and you served as a line producer, a co-producer, and you're currently working as a producer. So what was that first major work that came into your life that said, oh, okay, I'm doing this?
Yeah. So so before I was in film, I worked in corporate. Um, when I was in corporate, I was traveling back and forth to New York, which was my territory. And as I was traveling, I was actually ghostwriting, which means I was giving my jokes away, which, guys, you should never do. Like, you never give your stuff away. But I was getting paid great for it. And that's when I realized I was living in New York. I ended up moving there while I was working for this startup. And as I was ghostwriting, I realized like I really want to get out of corporate and get back into film and really chase my dreams and ambitions. So I lived in New York, lived my best life. I ghost wrote on The Daily Show. I ghost wrote on The Hannibal Buress Show, which was a Viacom show at the time that got canceled after one season. Um, Also guest wrote on Wild 'N Out because it was coming back at the time. Obviously, that's a payoff for my relationship with Nick. And in a moment where it all comes together, Swirl Films was relocating from Wilmington, North Carolina, where I went to school, to Atlanta, the city that I used to live in. And they were building out their unscripted department and asked me to come from New York back to Atlanta to help them build it out. And that was in 2017, top of 2018. And so I packed up my little Brooklyn apartment, quit my little ghostwriting job, and I moved from New York back to Atlanta.
Okay. So as you are now back in Atlanta in 2017, to help people with the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So what was dictating your choice to say yes to a project? Because you're in this space, if somebody is inviting you to do something, is it something that's saying, yeah, I'm gonna work on this? Or is it, tell us what that process is.
So that year, let's call it 2018, because it was the end of 2017. So the top of 2018, one of my goals was to say yes more. I said a lot of no's back then. And another big thing is, before I moved to New York, I read a book called The Alchemist, which changed my entire life. The Alchemist, the short version of it is a kid, the premise of the book is a kid wants to see the pyramids. And this story is about, and everybody told him that he wouldn't be able to do it. The story is about the people that he met along the way and his journey to the pyramids. That book changed everything because I read it and I felt like it was me, and I put myself in that spot. And then the underlying principle of the book is, if you want something bad enough, the universe conspires in your favor to make it happen. And so I bought into that. I believed that, and I just started saying yes to everything that I could do within reason. And so I didn't say no to a lot of things. I took on things that I didn't know how to do. I learned along the way. And essentially, it made me the Swiss Army knife that, could perform, could excel, could deliver, could be dependable. And, a producer in our world is really a problem solver. And I just became masterful at problem solving. And it really did. It changed my life forever.
So you have this pretty big project that's about to air on Hulu. I think March 21st is the air date.
It is.
So tell us, what was your day in the life when you were in the midst of production? Like, what tools did you need to do your work? But just take us through what it's like to do the work that you do currently.
Yeah, for sure. So a day in the life, just selling that project was a beast in itself. So I came up with the idea with my sister. She's not my blood sister, but she is my sister, Nikki Biles, here at Swirl. And we took that out to different networks to try to get them to buy it. We got Hulu to bite on it, to buy it. After they bought it, We then begin the production process, and it involves a lot. It's, getting people that, I'm strongly for telling Black stories and being the voice that tells those Black stories. So, it requires you to get talent on board. Jermaine Dupri, Uncle Luke, 21 Savage, these people that are pivotal to telling the story, getting them engaged and getting them onto the project, making sure that it looks good. So the right cameras, the right lenses, all of those things that come with, hiring the right people to film the project. And then after you film the project, which took over the course of maybe 6 months, then it goes into post-production where you're editing the project. And then that's where the storytelling meets the music and, everything else to make sure that you're telling an amazing story. So it wasn't me by myself, an amazing team that helps those things come together. But yeah, that's the prong layered approach to how the film got made.
How long did it take in total from you to have the idea? Was this about what, 2020? Like, when did you get the idea to all the way of it's complete and ready to air?
Great question. Got the idea, had the idea in 2020, all through COVID, developed the idea, met with the Jermaine Dupris and the Uncle Lukes of the world, took it out to market by 2022, got a ton of rejection. By the end of 22, got Hulu to buy in, shot it in 23, aired in 24.
Wow. So 4 years from idea to completed project and ready to air on March 21st.
Yep, on Hulu, get your subscriptions. Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm already plugged in. I'm ready to watch it
Okay,
because
I'm with you.
yeah, I've never attended myself. I've heard of the stories,
You told
so
me to
I'm
think
just
it before.
curious.
Okay, never mind. I thought you. My bad. I don't want to mess this up. I thought you went because you had showed me the pictures. Never mind. It's not for this. You're right. Not for this. Not for this group. You're right.
No, I have no pictures. There are no pictures of me. My parents would not allow me to even go near a Freaknik event. So yeah, no. I heard about it in the high school, but that didn't happen to me. So
Okay.
back to you, Jay. So
Yeah.
tell us of what has been your most challenging. Well, we know that working on this documentary has been challenging, but even before that, was there a seminal experience for you of all the work that you've been able to work on? Because you've worked on a lot of titles.
No, I've worked on a lot of titles. I think my journey here has probably been tougher than the work, because you don't always get it out the door because when I first graduated high school, well, when I first graduated college, um, I didn't know how to get into film, so I took a corporate job, and so I think I went my first job out of school was selling cable door to door, which I was phenomenal at, by the way, because I'm the best person to step on your door and just try to get you to buy cable. The only thing is I would sell it in the hood, so they would cut the cable off at the tap and then send me to the door to get you to buy cable. It was a terrible job, but I was really good at it for some reason. So the hardest thing is just believing yourself when you're not where you should be, but know like the vision that you see for yourself and just stay true to that vision.
And what's your goal professionally? Because you're in the space that you are going to go to a higher level. I truly know this is coming. So what is your goal?
I really just enjoy telling Black stories. You know what I mean? I love giving voices to the voiceless. I didn't attend Freaknik either, but I love the idea of being able to tell stories that I think should be told and finding out how I make that happen. So my goal isn't really financial. My goal isn't really anything clout wise. Like I really just want the ability to be able to tell those stories and, build a legacy as somebody that brought those stories to life.
It's nice. And as you are a producer and more projects are coming your way, are there some artists that you would just love to work with? These are your dream artists?
A lot of my dream artists are no longer here, which is cool. Because again, Michael, Whitney, Prince, like those people that are just iconic. I would have loved to been able to work with those human beings. But even today, like there's a connection to Tyler Perry, but I would love to be able to the businessman, no matter how you feel about his content as a businessman, he's incredible. The same with Oprah, the same with, some of these people, the Issa Raes of the world, like there's just some of those people that are incredible that I would love the opportunity to work with. And I will, you know what I mean? I like to put that in the universe and know it'll come back.
Absolutely, because once we start naming people and stating our intentions, just as you said in The Alchemist, the universe conspires to hand those things that we are being open and honest about. So I'm going to pray with you and hope that those things come into fruition. So
I
this
love
last segment is just getting to know you a little bit better. I'm going to ask you
it.
a few, some of them a short answer, but it really is a way for us to get to know you even better. Are you ready?
Been ready. Let's
All
go.
right. Dogs or cats?
Neither. I'm just saying I don't trust animals because they don't talk. You don't know what they're thinking. I'm sorry.
Okay. Next question. Window or aisle seat?
Oh, window every day because I sleep on the window. It's comfy. I
Me
like that.
too. I automatically I have to reserve my seat for window. What book would you give as a gift?
The Alchemist every time. I give it away 5 times a year. I buy a stack of 10 and give it away to my interns and my people.
What movie can you not resist watching if it came on right now?
Coming to America.
What is your favorite recipe to cook or eat?
I make a mean jerk chicken, like a mean jerk chicken.
I have to ask for a plate next time I see you.
Got you.
Okay. What
Good deal.
what makes you laugh the most?
My dad, he's hilarious.
And following you on social media, I so enjoy the stories that you share. So keep sharing those stories. I enjoy them so much.
I appreciate that. Yes.
So what would be your theme song or ring entrance song once you enter a room? What is it?
Um, Currently it would be One of Them Ones by Usher. It's a great song.
Okay. If you could choose one superpower, what would it be?
Time travel.
Okay. And if you are a superhero, who would be your nemesis?
Oh, that's a great question. Who would be my nemesis? I would want somebody easy to beat. Um, Dang, that's a good question. Who would be my nemesis? I'm gonna just say Joker because he didn't have a lot of superpowers, like stuff. But he was smart. So yeah, let me say Joker.
Okay. That's a cool answer. Who is your favorite person to follow on social media?
My favorite follow is probably Drewski. He's hilarious, though. It's just funny.
Okay. And if you can change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
I would be more patient. Yes. I tend to want instant gratification sometimes. Sometimes it's got to marinate a little bit. You know what I mean?
I understand that because I need a whole lot of patience myself. I take that to heart. And when you think of the word successful, who is the first person that comes to mind?
When I think of successful, um, really my parents, because they did it like even my mom's a single parent for years, and to me to be able to raise children on what she was making doing it, like that's success. You know what I mean? You did well, you raised well-rounded humans, and you did it with 35 cents. I don't know how you did it, but successful is my mom, my parents.
Wonderful answer. And if you can answer, what advice would you give yourself as your younger self? What would it be? And maybe I could take it to heart too. What's that advice?
Um, a lot of people project their fears on you, and you can sometimes at a young age believe them, but they're really telling you what they're scared of. So I would just say to my younger self, trust your gut, trust your instinct, and just prove these people wrong.
Wonderful. And as we come to the end of the show, just a few more questions for you and our final thoughts. What did you enjoy most about today?
Catching up with a friend that I met at an event who disappeared on me that said I disappeared on her, but catching up with her after
Bruh,
a decade, I know, I can't believe it either, but I want her to know I forgive her. So let's start there. So
that is
yes,
not the case, ladies and gentlemen, at all. he left. And this is the first time I've seen him in years, but I'm so happy that I can see him today. But no, he left.
Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, it's my word against hers. Just know, I just want to get ahead of this story. We don't know. We don't know how it went down.
Okay. All right. Well, two questions left for you. Would you like to give some shout outs to some loved ones who have been supportive of you on your journey?
I mean, my entire family. I love my family because they don't understand everything I do, but they know I'm out here chasing my dreams. So my mother, my father, my brothers, niece, nephews, cousins, like my support system is extremely strong, and I'm thankful for them because they keep me fueled up in this industry it can beat you down. You know what I mean?
Wonderful. And how can people learn more about you or follow you on social media?
So yeah, my Instagram is Watch J, so WATCH, the letter J. And the stories are ridiculous. So just know, like, I kind of chronicle my life. I want to be able to look back at this one day and just know what I was doing. And I also want to I'm turning my stories into a coffee table book. So I want to document that so that, that the book is lively. Like, you'll be able to see what I was doing for this decade. It's a real thing.
That's good. Well, we've come to the end of today's spotlight for this amazing artist. If this podcast has entertained or helped you in any way, please share. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to Dream of Drea across all social media platforms. Again, I'm Drea of Dream of Drea, a company with a mission to inspire, inform, and involve audiences through transcendent storytelling and integrative arts. Remember, wherever you are, right now is the perfect time to act on your dreams. Thanks again to Jay Allen for joining us today. And until next time, we'll talk later. Bye, everybody.
So beautiful. So beautiful. All right. Later. Oh,
Told you
how
that.
do you know I wasn't gone?